Today I got a mail order request from a hog hunter. 7 knives, each jam-packed with stories and some blood. Today in this video, we're gonna have 2 stars, the Giant Mouse ACE REO and a Benchmade Osborne Barrage. We're gonna take her apart, take a look under the hood, and then Tormek, 18 degrees. This thing's gonna need to be hair shaving sharp. Otherwise, I probably won't be sharpening for hunters anymore. All right, let's grind. All right, let's go ahead and tear down this Giant Mouse. Not my favorite grip. Around the index there, or the pointer finger. I definitely like Spyderco a little bit better. The micarta. All right, I'll shut up and we'll take this guy apart. All right, 10 points for the maker. He didn't overdo the screws. The internal frame structure, skeleton, whatever you might call it, that's pretty cool. I like that. Got a T6 here. Oh, there's a pin right here. I'm just gonna leave that there. Oh wow, look at these. Look at this bearing. I think I dang near perfected the Tormek. It's very important to get your blade lined up perfectly to the knife jig. And that's what I'm doing. When everything's squared up, I want my jig to be in the center of the knife, and I want my blade square to the jig. It's a bit of a painstaking process, but getting this knife as perfect as I can, or how I would want it sharpened if I owned it, is very important to me. I get a lot of questions about my knife jig. You don't see a lot of people using this one. This is by Cutter Masters of Canada. It's the best knife jig I've come across so far. I also get a lot of questions about the tool this is sitting on right here. This is my precision knife jig length projector. And this is where the magic happens. It allows me to project a 140 millimeter distance, which is for a whole nother video. But more importantly, regardless of the projection length, it allows me to square that blade up perfectly every time. And I use that projector to help me determine the distance my bar needs to be from the wheel. And I'm always gonna use Sharpie to, that's my measure twice, cut once method. Take a quick look and boom, there it is. From the top of the bevel to the edge. Check the other side just in case there's something off with the jig or something, which has happened to me with this particular jig, by the way. When I sharpen high carbide steels or super steels, I never use anything less than 200 grit. This is a grit 200 CBN wheel, but I want to say it acts more like grit 400. I don't know what it is about CBN, but there's a wear-in period when it's brand new. It definitely feels like grit 200, but after a month or so, 40, 50, 100 knives, it starts behaving more like grit 400. Oh my God, look at that shot. Absolutely beautiful. This was just by happenstance. I got a new overhead camera hanger. First time doing this angle. I was not expecting this. Absolutely beautiful. Whole purpose of this angle though is I wanted to highlight the benefits of edge trailing on the Tormek system. Now, if you look closely, you're going to be able to see my contact point. That little wake in the water right in the center, right there. Yep. This allows me, being able to see that contact point helps me control the tempo. So I'm not dwelling in one spot for too long. And without that visual, I mean, how are people achieving greatness when they sharpen on these machines? I don't know. I was in the dark. You don't know what you don't know, though, right? And it wasn't until I discovered this that I was able to take my sharpening and the precision to a whole nother level. Sharpness is one thing, but a perfectly set bevel, that's a whole nother thing. So different angles, same stone, grit 800 CBN. CBN's a really special material. I absolutely love it. I've never owned a diamond wheel for the Tormek system. Maybe one day. They're quite expensive, a big investment. But boy, I'll buy these stones all day long. They cut super steels like none other. And I don't even use those aluminum oxide wheels anymore. There's, why would I? I've got CBN. If it can cut super steel, it can cut a Hinkle's knife, a X50 blade. And I'm just taking my time. I notice when I sharpen, I lose track of time very easily. It's kind of a very meditative experience. Just being very careful and precise, focusing on my tempo. I want this thing to be absolutely perfect, my very best for this client. On this step in the process, I'm grinding at 18 degrees. The step before this on the Grit 200, I was at 18.2, so I've stepped down 0.2 of a degree to thin the burr. Right, time to step up on the grit progression. Usually at this point I would jump over to my leather wheel, 6 micron diamond, but instead we're jumping to 1200, grit 1200 CBN. I don't do this very often, but some knives like this one, it's perfect for it. This, no joke, this is my client's fancy dinner knife. So like I said, he's an avid hunter, but from time to time, he and his wife go out to dinner, and when they do, he hangs up the skinner, he hangs up those hog hunting knives, and this is what he puts in his suit pocket. So I want this bevel to be absolutely stunning. I'm not gonna go for a mirror polish. I still want it to have a little bit of toothiness. And we can get that from Grit 1200. Now it's time to attack that burr. Got our new leather wheel. I just swapped out the leather on this thing recently. Spray some 6 micron diamond on here. And we're gonna minimize this burr down to nothing on this step. It's gonna be very sharp. I could hand it to a customer after this step. This is probably one of my favorite steps in the whole process because I don't have to worry as much. I can bump the plunge line on leather. It's not going to hurt anything. I got the tape over it anyways. But those CBN wheels, those are not forgiving. Everything's got to be perfect. So at this point, the knife is hair shaving sharp. It's sharper than any out of the box factory knife you're gonna buy. But we're gonna go one step further, 3 micron. Get a nice little fresh coat on here. And this is where we go from I don't know, best 150 down to best 100 is this step right here. Easy as she goes. You know, about this Giant Mouse, I am quite impressed by the action on it. It's a bit of an addicting knife to snap. Oh, you already know it's going to be nasty. Oh, yeah. Oh, I tried to cut around that guy's head, but I missed. Nasty. These bearings are really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen bearings like these before. I was expecting ceramic, but especially being an Italian, made knife or Italian influence. I don't know the details behind that. But they're steel bearings. But a very interesting tiny bearing system. Very smooth nonetheless. I'm always going to give it a good cleaning on the inside, new oil. I think that's important. You're going to take it apart. You might as well clean it for your customer. They're paying for sharpening. But hey, go the extra mile for them. It's only going to help you in your reputation in the long run. All right, you know what time it is. It's time for that edge on up, that sharpness test. Had a customer recently, mail order customer. I did not do an edge on up sharpness test. And I did not realize that some of these folks, they want to see that, how many grams it takes to cut that fishing line. I don't know, this thing's, the more I learn, the more this machine is a gimmick. There's a lot of flaws with it. I mean, how many of you are cutting fishing line every day? I know some of you fish, but it really isn't that of an important thing to cut. But that's what we have. This is what's on the market. So this is what we use. And it does give us some baseline for the sharpness on the very tippy tip edge of the knife. Okay, we're gonna do a couple rips on the kangaroo strop. I'm becoming more interested in the overall geometry and overall performance of knives and how they cut through things like potatoes and hard foods and leather and cardboard. Man, they killed it on the action with this knife. If you want to see the HD close-ups of this, stick around to the end of the video here. Coming up real quick. Another thing I want to share. I had a couple questions for some professional sharpeners before I dove into this, and I went to the Sharpeners Discord. Link in the description, pin comments below. We have a new pro sharpener on the Discord, Jeremiah, with same-day sharpening. Boom, if you have Facebook and you like knives, you've most definitely seen this guy's face. You can't forget it. This guy, let me tell you, he's an absolute genius when it comes to marketing. Farmers market season is right around the corner. If you're a pro sharpener and you're thinking about hitting those farmers markets, or maybe you've hit those farmers markets in the past, but haven't seen a lot of success from them, Jeremiah breaks down the entire game in great detail, how to get the most of it. When this guy posts on the Sharpeners Discord, I stop, I read, I listen, and I learn. I'm not a farmer's market guy myself, busy doing these mail orders, but man, you gotta take a look at what this guy has to say. He's a genius. Check out these photos.